Sometimes a story comes along that sounds like it's straight out of a crime thriller. This is one of those stories. We're talking fake hospitals, ghost patients, and a massive, multi-crore insurance heist. But here's the kicker. It's all real. Let's get into it.
So, here's a riddle for you. How do you make millions of dollars with a hospital that has zero actual patients? Sounds impossible, right? Well, for a sophisticated network of criminals in Gurgaon, India, that wasn't a riddle. It was a business plan, and it was a plan that absolutely shook the insurance industry.
So, our story begins in Gurgaon, with a police raid on a place called the Galaxy 1 Hospital. And what the cops found inside wasn't just some small-time scam. No, this was an entire criminal enterprise, built from the ground up on a foundation of pure deception.
So what was their formula? How'd they pull it off? It was almost brutally simple. You set up fake hospitals that were basically just empty buildings. You recruit ghost patients, people who are perfectly healthy, and you forge a mountain of medical documents. The only thing real about this entire operation, the money they were raking in.
As of right now, the police have traced at least 1 crore rupees. That's about 10 million rupees in fraudulent claims. But they're all saying the same thing. This is just the beginning. This is only the tip of a very, very big iceberg.
Now, you don't pull off a heist of this size by yourself. It takes a team, right? A specialized crew. And this operation had all the key players, almost like something out of a movie.
At the very top, running the whole show, was a man named A.S. Yadav, the alleged mastermind. And get this, he wasn't just running one fake hospital. Oh no. Police say he was in charge of a whole network of 5 of them, all set up for one purpose and one purpose only, to commit fraud. Of course, even a fake hospital needs patience on paper. So the crew went out and recruited hundreds of people to play the part. The deal was simple. You give us your identity documents, let us file a claim in your name, and you'll get a cut of the insurance payout.
To make all the paperwork look legit, they needed doctors. And they found ones who were willing to play along, some of whom apparently had fake degrees themselves. Their job was to create all the bogus medical records and sign off on treatments that, you guessed it, never actually happened.
But here's the real genius of the whole scheme. The secret sauce, the inside men. These were private investigators who were hired by the insurance companies themselves. Their job was supposed to be catching fraud. Instead, they were the ones giving the green light to every single fake claim. The police called them the actual kingpins. Okay, so we've met the crew. Now let's dive into the nitty-gritty. How did this well-oiled machine actually work day to day? Let's break down the anatomy of the fraud. It really was a step-by-step process. First, the fake doctors would cook up a complete medical file from thin air. Then, they'd attach a ghost patient's name to it and file an insurance claim. Next, their crooked PI on the inside would give it the thumbs up. And boom, the insurance money lands on the patient's bank account, ready to be withdrawn and split among the crew. It was a criminal assembly line. And if you're wondering how they got away with it, well, ACP Avilaksh Joshi explains it perfectly. The insurance companies themselves created the weakness. They don't manually check all the claims. They outsource that verification to these third-party investigators. And that's the exact vulnerability the crew exploited. When police finally raided the hospital, they found a total ghost town. Seriously, no patients, no real staff on duty, just empty rooms and desks piled high with fake documents. This wasn't a place for healing. It was a factory for fraud. But even the most elaborate schemes have a weak spot, right? And for this crew, after a long run, the walls finally started to close in. What's wild is how long it took for this to come crashing down. The very first tip-off came in May 2025, about a doctor with a fake degree. But it took until February of the next year, almost a full year later, for a formal complaint to be filed and for the big arrests to start happening.
When the police finally did make their move, they hit the jackpot. I mean, they found everything. 60 fake insurance files, stacks of forged lab reports, phony pharmacy bills, a whole treasure trove of evidence that laid the entire fraud bare.
So as wild as this story is, it's not just about one gang of criminals. This case really ripped the lid off some major systemic problems within the entire insurance industry. I mean, just try to wrap your head around the scale of this. Police estimate that over 500 different people took part as ghost patients. That's not just a small crew, that's practically a small army of people, all in on the scam. And they didn't care who they were stealing from. They hit nearly 25 different insurance companies. Didn't matter if they were private firms or government-run health schemes. Everyone was a potential target.
So, what can we learn from all this? Well, this scheme exposed 3 gigantic weaknesses in the system. 1, the industry is dangerously over-reliant on these outside investigators. 2, there's a shocking lack of actual physical, on-the-ground verification. And 3, it is just far too easy to forge an official-looking medical record.
So yeah, the police busted this one network, and that's a huge win. But it leaves you with a pretty unsettling question, doesn't it? If a network this big, running 5 fake hospitals, could operate in plain sight for so long, how many more are still out there, running the same playbook right now?